Sweet. Gorgeous, gorgeous girls deserve social media breaks. Plan, schedule, and track posts across all your social networks. Then relax. Try Hootsuite for free today.
My friend often says that Italians are emotional and impulsive. I haven't done an impulsive thing in my life. Crazy things just happen to me, you know? I was just so unprepared for my chemistry exam, and all I did was set off the fire alarm. Next thing I know, a fire truck had crashed into our school auditorium. The principal was furious in searching for the culprit, and I, the culprit, found myself running away from the school as fast as I could. I rushed straight into my empty house and up to my room to find a boy sitting on my bed. He looked exactly like me. I'm talking height, hair color, lips, down to my very eyes. He was like a boy version of me. Suddenly, he ran up to me and hugged me. I pushed him away. Who are you and what are you doing here? Sorry, the front door was open and I was just so excited to meet my twin sister for the first time. Twin what? Falla finita. Was there no end to today's drama? The crazy events of the day ended with me finding out the greatest secret my parents had kept from me. I wasn't born into this world alone. I had a twin brother, and his name was Lucas. My parents had given him up for adoption and kept me. His millionaire father barely paid attention to him now. He was far too busy, and that led Lucas to seek out his real parents. After telling him what happened at school, he suggested something that really caught my interest. Why don't we switch places for a few days? You could enjoy my mansion and posh high school while I get to see what it's like to live with my real parents. And my Italian blood quickly did its thing, and before I knew what I was saying, I yelled, "Deal!" I didn't want to waste another second. I just wanted to experience a day at school without getting bullied. We went out and bought wigs, and then I was off to take over my twin brother's life and move into his mansion. I just went crazy the first day of the switch, eating everything I could see in the pantry and playing all of Lucas's amazing video games. No one was at home except for his many servants. I called Lucas to check in on him, and he sounded so happy with my parents. Mama's cooking is the best, and I had so much fun watching basketball with Papa today. How about you? I told him that I was doing just fine. I hope you'll really enjoy my life, sorella. After meeting his best friend Jeff, I was sure I would. There was just something about him that was so dreamy. He radiated pure confidence and charisma. Too bad I was here as a boy. There was nothing I could do but look. Or so I thought. Turns out Lucas and Jeff were much closer friends than I knew. One day, he just barged into my room without even knocking. And worse, he immediately jumped into my bed as if he owned it. Wake up, princess. It's time for your morning tea. What did he just call me? He was grinning from ear to ear. And then it hit me. I was still in my girly pink pajamas. Could I just disappear right now? I immediately cleared my throat, and in a deeper voice I said, "I'm just man enough to wear pink." Dude, I know, it's cool. He gave me a fist bump and a wink, and I responded in the most awkward way. Gosh, I was so bad at this. My crush on Jeff was interfering with my acting. He was so hilarious and attractive, it made my girly side come out. Once I almost giggled. How was I ever going to hide my secret with this gorgeous boy always hovering around me? Little did I know that it was about to get much worse. Jeff walked up to me one day and asked me if I was up for the date. I nearly fainted. Date? Yeah, with our girlfriends. Wait, a girl? What? Apparently there were things Lucas hadn't given me a heads up about. Like his girlfriend of 6 months? I called him after school to ask how he'd forgotten this minor detail. He answered the call, but none of my questions. He spoke in a squeaky voice and pretended to be me, Andrea, throughout. My parents were nearby, and he had to keep his act up. The pazzo. Next thing I knew, I was going on a couples trip with Lucas's girlfriend Danielle, Jeff, and his girlfriend Courtney. We were driving to a resort owned by Jeff's dad to chill there for the night. That car ride turned out to be one of the most difficult and awkward experiences of my life. Danielle, my girlfriend, was super into me. She was literally clinging onto me like a snake and was breathing down my neck the whole ride. Oh, babe, I hadn't seen you for 23 hours, 16 minutes, and 10 seconds, and I was missing you like crazy. She tried to kiss me, but I turned my face away from her and said, "Wow, I bet you're good at math." Oh my God, you're so funny. She was all over me, literally laughing at every word I said, and I just wanted to disappear between the car seats. I struck up a conversation with Courtney to avoid my own girlfriend, but I guess it was a bad idea because Danielle started crying hysterically. Oh my God, ladies. I met Jeff's eyes in the rearview mirror. I gave him a help me look, but he just grinned at me. "You're such a flirt, Courtney. Stop talking to my boyfriend." "What's your problem?" "My problem is your existence." Before they could kill each other, Jeff turned around to tell them to shut up, and then he suddenly swerved sharply to avoid an oncoming truck. The whole car spun out of control, and we all screamed, terrified. The car came to a halt on the hillside, and one of the wheels was stuck in a pothole. We jumped out and tried to push it out of the hole, but that wasn't gonna happen, and we were miles away from the city. We were stranded in the middle of nowhere. I found an inn nearby that had decent ratings online. We began to walk there when Courtney and Jeff began to fight. It was her car that had been wrecked. I was tired of their bickering, so I moved away from them, but then Danielle caught up with me. What have I done, Lucas? Am I not pretty enough? Don't you like my new hair? Wait, what did her hair look like before? I tried my best to hide my annoyance and forced a sweet smile on my face. You're the prettiest woman alive, mia bella, and you deserve everything. I love you. I almost threw up at my words. I hadn't expected that acting like Lucas was going to be this tough. As soon as we reached the inn, I rushed to the bathroom to take a breather. While looking at myself in the mirror, I was surprised to see Courtney behind me grinning. I turned to her. What are you doing here? She stepped closer to me and answered, No, Lucas. What are you doing here? This bathroom is for females. Oh, shoot. Was there no end to this? I was about to rush out when she suddenly blocked my way. We had such an amazing conversation in the car back there, Lucas. I love Jeff, but I don't think I've ever had as much fun with him. Wait, what? Before I knew it, Courtney grabbed my face and kissed me right on the lips. Holy cow, I was kissing a girl. At that moment, Danielle came in and saw us. There was a look of horror on her face as she screamed at the top of her lungs. She was ready to attack Courtney, but Jeff came in time to stop her. Danielle screamed at Jeff, Your stupid girlfriend kissed my boyfriend! Courtney started crying as she hugged Jeff. Babe, I didn't do anything wrong. Lucas followed me in here and kissed me. You know what? I'm so done with you. We're over. Courtney just rolled her eyes. Fine, whatever. Jeff ignored her and turned to me with a furious look on his face, and my heart sank because I had betrayed him. The pretty messed up situation was interrupted when the innkeeper came in to tell us that she had prepared 2 rooms for us. At that moment, I wanted to hug her so bad for being a lifesaver. Thankfully, the woman was very old-fashioned. She wouldn't let teenagers bunk together under any circumstances, so Jeff and I had to share a room, and the crazy girlfriends were in another. But then I started sweating bullets when I realized something. Jeff and I were sharing a room? A bed? How was I ever going to get through this? And he's mad at me right now. I literally just kissed his cheating girlfriend. What was he going to do to me? My heart was racing when we finally went to our room. While heading to the bed, I tripped over something and fell down on the floor. Jeff immediately came to my rescue. He looked so worried as he helped me to my feet. I swear I was about to pass out because of how close our faces were to each other. Jeff offered to take a look at my foot and took off my sock. Nail paint on your toes? Nice. I gasped and looked down at my feet. My blue nail paint was still on my toes. I couldn't think of a single excuse that would work. Before I could betray my secret, I yanked my foot away and changed the topic instead. I'm sorry about what happened earlier, dude. I know you're mad at me. Are you going to beat me up? Suddenly, he burst out laughing. Why would I beat up a girl? And in this case, Luca's twin sister. I froze in surprise. But how did you know? Jeff said he'd figured it out easily. I acted nothing like Lucas and remembered none of his plans. Lucas had mentioned to Jeff that he had a twin sister, so he put 2 and 2 together. Besides, Lucas's eyes aren't this beautiful, and I've never felt attracted to that idiot's smile. My whole face was red now. You're attracted to me? He just smiled at me and continued to bandage my foot. When he was done, he got up and said, wildly attracted. I kid you not, I nearly fainted. I finally opened up and told him the whole truth. I was a girl. Oh, it felt so good to say that out loud. Jeff listened to me patiently as I told him everything. My life at home and at school. He took my hand. You're the most beautiful girl I've ever met, Andrea. Inside and out. Not to mention funny, too. You don't deserve to be bullied and treated like that. Oh God, he was so sweet. How could Courtney cheat on a boy like him? I blushed harder when Jeff started leaning closer and closer. Before our lips could finally touch, Danielle, my girlfriend, suddenly out with me. Babe, can you sing me my favorite lullaby? I was panicking now. I started singing some random nursery rhyme when Jeff came to the rescue again. In case you guys have forgotten, I'm also here. Can I have some peace? After a few more minutes of pestering me, Danielle finally fell asleep. I carefully untangled myself from her and rolled to the edge of the bed. I whispered down to Jeff, Are you still up? He whispered back, How can I sleep when I can't stop thinking about you? Oh, my heart. Go to sleep already. We need to have enough energy to deal with these crazy girls tomorrow. Sure, but I need a goodnight kiss. I rolled my eyes. I grinned in the dark. Fine, carino. I reached down to him, intending to give him a kiss on the cheek, but to my surprise, He aimed for my lips instead. My heart almost jumped out of my chest when Danielle started snoring. Jeff and I were laughing soundlessly till our stomachs hurt. It was 5 a.m. when Jeff convinced me to sneak out and leave the two crazy girls behind. He paid for the rooms and we waited for help at the side of the road. Luckily, we were able to find someone to give us a ride back to the city. Jeff wanted to take me out on our first official date, so I wore the cutest pink dress and let my hair down this time. As he watched me walking towards him, he put a hand on his heart. Did it hurt? Huh? What did? When you fell down from heaven? His cheesy line had my heart doing hula hoops. Finally, I was able to giggle as much as I wanted. He took my hand and kissed it. You're even more beautiful than I thought. He took his dad's car and we continued our love story that weekend in his dad's resort, just the two of us this time. Everything was perfect until Monday. Word of Courtney and I kissing had spread like wildfire thanks to Danielle, who was really mad at me for leaving her behind. And now everyone thought I was trying to steal Jeff's ex-girlfriend. There was an awards event in the school's gym the next day, and Courtney was declared the best cheerleader. After delivering her speech, she suddenly called my name out and said, "I can't stop this feeling anymore, Lucas. Will you be my boyfriend?" Danielle shouted from the audience, "Girl, your desperation is hurting my toenails. Dream on." Courtney fought back. "At least I wasn't dumped by Lucas." Danielle replied, "Yet." It was so awkward that I found myself running out of the gym as everyone laughed at Courtney. I skipped school for the next 2 days to avoid those girls and chose to hang out with Jeff as my real self. I was so happy when he agreed to watch a cheesy romantic movie with me. The movie ended, and as soon as the lights were back on, we were shocked to see who was sitting in front of us. Danielle's friends! They were about to turn around, but Jeff and I were quick. I immediately buried my face in my bucket of popcorn while he pretended to sleep. Thank God they immediately left. That was close. Jeff and I continued our little dates, but my love-filled haze of happiness didn't last long. I was heading to school one day when Lucas showed up, the real Lucas. He was troubled and unhappy back in my school. He said he had no idea what I'd meant when I said I was unpopular. People were picking on him left, right, and center. "I love our parents, sis, but I'm done with your life. I'm sorry." I would have agreed to switch back happily a few days ago, but now I wasn't sure. I didn't want to leave Jeff. On the other hand, I missed being a girl freely. I missed my parents too. What was I going to do? I told Lucas to give me some time and I went to school. Little did I know that this was the calm before the storm. That night, I got invited for a Zoom conference by Courtney. Out of curiosity, I clicked on it and was surprised to see the faces of everyone at school. Did I miss something? All right, now that everyone's here, are you all ready for our interesting lesson tonight? Oh no, I didn't like where this was going. She started playing a slideshow presentation for everyone to see, and it was pictures of me and Jeff. Which one is more disgusting? Ew. That was officially the end of it. I had to go back now. I was about to call Lucas to tell him what had happened, but he called me first and told me to come home urgently. I got really worried. Jeff drove me to my real house, and I saw my parents hugging Lucas with tears in their eyes. And Lucas wasn't dressed as a girl. What was happening? Mama? Papa? They immediately hugged me as soon as they heard my voice. Dad said, "Our bambina is back. Why didn't you tell us about this switching business?" I turned to Lucas, and while scratching his head, he told me, "Sorry, sis. Mama caught me in my underwear in the bathroom." Mom then started explaining, "We were forced to give up Lucas for adoption because we didn't have enough money to take care of you both. We never thought we'd see Lucas again, and we're so happy that we got to meet him." Lucas told us that he wanted to be close to his family, so he'd made a plan. There was more than enough room in his mansion for all of us. He talked to his foster dad already, who was totally fine with it. My parents were so over the moon. I was so excited to have a sibling and leave my horrible school. And of course, now I could stay close to Jeff. Jeff said, "Oh, by the way, dude, Danielle's no longer your girlfriend." Lucas laughed. "Great, I was wondering how I was going to break up with her. Seriously, those girls are the worst." The boys did a fist bump in front of me. Jeff then turned to me with a wink. "That's how it's done, babe." I just answered him with the girliest giggle ever. Amore mio.
What are you gonna do when Michael comes for you? 'Cause he is coming.
Come and get me. Halloween ends. Rated R.
Hi, I'm Aiko, and this is Amaya. As you can see, me and my sister Amaya are Siamese sisters. We were born attached from the waist down, but we are not the same. When we were born, our parents freaked out completely when they saw us for the first time. Why won't these babies come apart? The doctors glued our babies together. I'm gonna sue them. Mom and Dad lost their senses after they found out we couldn't be taken apart, and they left us at the hospital and ran away, literally. So we grew up in an orphanage, but it wasn't the best place for Siamese girls to be in. The beds we slept in and the clothes we wore were too uncomfortable, and everyone looked at us like we were some magical creatures. Hey, can I touch you? Sure, if you want to lose your arm, go ahead. Amaya? Well, yeah, one of the reasons we never had friends was because Amaya would chase all of them away with her bad temper, and I would have to convince her to do things with me to get along with the rest of the kids. Hey, look everyone! The magic girls are doing their magic tricks again! We would do small little tricks to attract donations and people into our orphanage on the weekends, and all the kids would love it. But in spite of all the efforts we put in, no one would pick us for adoption. Why do you think no one wants to adopt us, Aiko? Well, maybe it's because they just want one girl and it's the two of us? No, it's because you're freaks. Face it, losers. Maria was the bully at the orphanage and messed with us whenever she got a chance. Well, no one wants you either, Maria. How does that make you any different from us? She jumped onto me and started pulling my hair off when Amaya planted a punch right into her face. Take this, Maria. And then we broke out into a cat fight. But to our horror, we went crashing into a vase that was 1,000 years old, and our manager, Mr. Saichi, cherished it more than his life. Girls! He looked raging mad and punished us by asking us to clean the entire orphanage and do all the work for a week. And lunch was assigned to Maria. During lunchtime, while she was pouring food into our plates, I saw a wicked smile on her face, and later as we started to eat, I saw a big cockroach in Amaya's soup. I grabbed the bowl and threw it right into her face. Are you out of your mind? Why'd you do that? What else am I supposed to feed you freaks? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want it alive? Everyone else burst out laughing at her silly joke, but Amaya didn't take it too well. She picked up the cockroach and jumped onto Maria, insisting that she eat it. Come on, open your mouth now. Let's see you getting a taste of what you serve. I tried to pull her away, but it was already too late. The manager was already there. That's enough. I want you both in my office right now. I was horrified. We were so doomed now. But to my surprise, the manager didn't scold us. Instead, he introduced us to a very handsome man named Mr. Lee. Oh, girls. You're just 15, but you're so amazing. I have seen you guys perform your little tricks. You're so talented. Would you like to come with me? I looked at Amaya and hugged her. This was awesome news. But then the manager said he couldn't take us with him. Why not? I'm sorry, Mr. Lee, but you'll need a partner to adopt the girls. You can't do that alone. So this time, Mr. Lee came back with a bearded woman. After the adoption papers were signed, Mr. Lee took us to a freaking awesome place, the circus. We thought we were there for a show, but then he asked us to go backstage. This was weird. The bearded woman asked us to put on circus gowns, then handed us some juggling balls and stuff. And with that, Mr. Lee pushed us onto the stage. Go, girls, do your magic. Magic? This was crazy. Everyone was looking at us like we were some zoo animals, and we couldn't even juggle the balls properly. And in no time, people were laughing at us like we were some clowns. But you know what they say, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. This wasn't half as bad as cleaning the orphanage, and we even got to travel the world for our shows. But soon after, we realized we weren't really.
Life's a little more exciting in D2, isn't it? Can it inspire anyone?
You don't always have to be the strong one.
Take a good look at each other. That's who we can count on.
Happy. It was so exhausting and not a place to call home. I don't want to live here anymore, like this. Let's just leave. But I knew Mr. Lee wouldn't let us leave so easily. So we made a plan to run away at night, but just as we were sneaking out, we saw Mr. Lee talking to some man. These are the animals we stole from the zoo, and there are more on the way. You better hurry up with the payments. You will get your payment. But we need more unique kids, too, like the Siamese sisters. Kidnap them if you have to, but I need to expand my business. OMG! He was such a cruel man! How did we not see this before? We should definitely run out of here. He's so dangerous. No, Amaya, we can't. Think of all the other people he's gonna trap, and these innocent animals? We have to do something about it. We immediately went back to our tent and called the police. Within the next few hours, there were cops swarming in like bees and arresting anyone involved in the illegal buying and selling of animals, including Mr. Lee. After the chaos was over, a police officer came to us and told us we were going to receive a huge amount of reward money for giving them such a big lead. Yippee! This was super awesome! There were also news reporters and TV channel reporters to interview us for our bravery, and all of a sudden, we were like celebrities. After receiving the huge reward money, we shared some of it with the other circus workers too. And from our share, I insisted on buying a small house for both of us, and Amaya saved the rest for her secret plans. Then one day we were eating out at a restaurant when I bumped into a table and almost fell to the ground when a guy caught us. He was our age and had such gorgeous eyes. I almost fell in love with him at first sight when Amaya interrupted. "Are you blind? Can't you see?" "Amaya, it's not even his fault. I bumped into the table." I hushed her, and the guy even asked me out later. This was crazy. I went home and tried all the best dresses, but Amaya didn't seem to be a sport. During the dinner date, he held my hand and we were having romantic talks when Amaya went all bonkers on the waiter. "What is this? You call this food? My vomit looks better than this. Take it away." And Amaya, being Amaya, chased the guy away. Later, when we reached home, I was super mad at her. "Why'd you do that? Why are you always so angry? Do you even realize how much I have to adjust and sacrifice because of you? I like that guy so much." "What? How can you even say that? Do you think you're the only one adjusting here? Well, I'm here too, in case you didn't notice." Of course, I was wrong to say that, but I was angry too, and this was one of the times I hated us being inseparable. Later, when Amaya wouldn't talk to me for hours, I made a plan to cheer her up. "What are you doing?" "Going out, but I don't want to. I want to sleep, but I do want to go out." I pulled her out to see the stars and hugged her real tight. "I'm so sorry that I was mean to you, but I swear I'm never going to do it again. You matter most to me in this world, Amaya. I love you, and happy birthday." Suddenly, she had tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry too, sis. You have to live with my stupid temper all the time, and you never complain about it, but you don't have to anymore." "What? What do you mean?" Amaya told me she wanted to consult a doctor and get us separated so we could live our lives like normal people. This was crazy. She even said we could use all the reward money for our separation operation. But that would mean we won't be together like this. "Yeah, I know, but we will always have each other, right? We deserve to be happy and live our lives, Aiko, and fall in love like you want." I was speechless. This was the best birthday gift ever. The next morning, we went to see the best doctor in the city for our operation. "All right, blood tests are fine, girls. I think a few more tests and we can proceed." "Wow, really? But we don't have any risks, do we?" "The risk is very low. You don't share organs, that's fortunate. There are other Siamese patients who are not so lucky." We were so happy. After meeting the doctor, we went back home, and there was a middle-aged woman who came running up to us and hugged us. "Aiko, Amaya, my daughters, I missed you so much." What the freaking heck? She was our mom? You're our mom? How did you find us? Oh, I'll do better. Why did you leave us in the first place? What do you want now? We had so many questions, but she just burst into tears. "Oh, my babies. I'm so sorry. I left you both alone, but your dad and I were so poor back then, and we freaked out. Please, please forgive us." "Forgive my butt? I don't believe you. You can't be our mom. We look nothing like you, and if you're insisting so much, then why don't we get a DNA test right now?" I was fired up with anger, but she was indeed our mom. She even had our birth certificates with her. Then she told us some shocking news. "Your dad is super ill, and he wants to see you both. Please, I beg you both to come and see him for the last time. It didn't feel right, but she was literally holding onto our pants and wouldn't let them go. And that's when Amaya said, we should give her a chance. I was super shocked, but then I could understand her emotions, so I let her meet them once. When we reached their place, we saw a man lying in bed all sick, and all of a sudden, he turned into a drama queen. My daughters, oh my daughters, I'm a criminal. I was such a bad dad. I deserve to die. I did so wrong to the both of you. Please forgive me. He hugged Amaya and she went all emotional. We sat and talked by his side for a while, and then Mom told us how they needed money to get Dad treated. Of course, I wasn't liking any of it, but Amaya seemed to connect with them so soon. Later when we got back home, she told me she was going to use the money for Dad and not our operation. But why? They left us when we were just babies and now they want to use our money? So what? They're our parents and they're miserable right now. We should help them. No, Amaya, this is what we've always wanted, to live normal lives. You can't give it away just like that. But more than that, I've always wanted a family, Mom and Dad. And we've lived like this all our lives. We can live the rest of it too. Please, Aiko, please. I didn't know what to say after that. She was so happy after meeting Mom and Dad, and I didn't want to take away her happiness. So I decided I was going to support her decision. We went back to tell Mom and Dad, but what we saw shocked us to our bones. They were partying and eating tons of dinner kept on the table. These stupid kids have no idea we're gonna take that reward money and run with it. I could tell they grew up into such fools when I saw them on the TV. Good that we left them. Yeah, they were so dumb. But do you think they'll give us the money? This was it. Amaya had tears in her eyes, and I couldn't take it anymore. We went in and I threw the garbage bag I picked up from outside straight onto them. That's what you deserve, and that's what kind of people you are. Garbage. Yeah, I trusted you guys, and I thought you were genuinely sorry, but I was wrong. You guys are the most horrible people I've ever met, and I've met a lot. Saying that, we stormed out of their place, and we realized the only family we had was each other, and it was enough. A few days later, we even discovered that our parents were serving time in jail for not being able to pay their debts. Well deserved. Of course, after that, we got our operation and we were successfully separated without any complications. And now, we're free to live life as we want.
There's an innovator in all of us. And with our intelligent technology, you can bring your brightest ideas to life. Confidently.
Hello, my name is Simona and I'm from Spain. Please like and subscribe. Growing up, what I hated most was when my parents argued and yelled at each other. And it happened a lot. But there were some moments when we'd all laugh together. Like when I turned 3, Dad came home with the biggest unicorn doll for me. And Mom baked my favorite vanilla cake. It was the happiest day of my life. Simona, you're the best thing that's ever happened. When you were born, our world changed. Yes, darling. You mean everything to us. Mom worked as a secretary at a big insurance company, and Dad worked at a local store. So we lived a pretty average life. But then one day when I was 4, Mom came home driving her boss's expensive car and told Dad that she was leaving him. Please don't go, Mom. I love you. Oh, my baby. Tell you what, you will visit me at my new house every weekend. I watched Mom pack her bags and drive away, and Dad was so sad. He told me that he and Mom were now separated. Months later, he took me to visit her at her new fancy house, and she was sitting with her boss carrying a new baby. Simona, I'd like you to meet your baby sister, Luisa. Luisa was the luckiest little baby because her dad bought her all the toys in the world. I liked going to their mansion, and Mom would be so happy every time I visited. But soon Luisa started crying so hard for Mom's attention that it became difficult for us to spend any time together. Once when I was 5 and Luisa was a toddler, Mom took us to the zoo and bought us both candy. But Louisa threw hers into the baboon cage, and then she started crying hysterically for more. She even started pulling Mom's hair, and I gave her my candy so she'd calm down and give Mom a break. Oh, Simona, thank you so much. You've always been such an understanding child. I hope your sister grows up to be just like you.
Thanks, Mom. We just want you to be happy.
Since Mom had left, Dad always tried to hide his sadness and make me laugh with his jokes and dramatic bedtime stories. And I tried my best to always make him proud and happy too. Once in 2nd grade, Dad came to my school for a parent-teacher meeting, and my teacher, Esmeralda, told him all sorts of nice things about me, since I was the top student in her class. Wow, I'm so proud of you, darling. You should be. Simona is a very special little girl. Right after the meeting, Dad invited Esmeralda to come with us for pizza. He looked really happy around her, and soon after, he started seeing her more often. And I didn't mind at all because she was very nice to me. Once in 4th grade, we went to the ice rink together, and Esmeralda showed me how to skate. Okay, I'm not letting go of your hand until you're strong on your feet.
I think I can skate on my own. Look!
I let go of her grip and twirled around, feeling like I was flying. And then suddenly my leg twisted and I fell down hard. I felt dizzy and I saw Esmeralda running towards me as I blacked out. I was rushed to the hospital and my leg was put through so many scans and then bandaged up. Esmeralda couldn't stop crying. This is all my fault. I am so sorry, Simona.
No, please, don't blame yourself. I wanted to skate on my own.
Dad hugged Esmeralda to make her feel better. And just then, Mom barged in with Louisa. How could you let this happen? She started yelling at Dad, and they both got into a big argument, forgetting all about me. Guys, stop! Everyone looked at me, and then Louisa came closer to my bed, looking angry.
I had a big concert today, and I was the lead, but now I'm here because Mom was worried about you. You ruined my concert.
Louisa, you can't speak to your sister like that. She just got injured. Louisa pulled an ugly face at me, and just then the doctor walked in with some bad news. He told my parents that my leg would never be normal again. I walked with a limp, and at school I couldn't participate in any sports, but I still remained the top student in the class. And everyone was so nice to me since I'd never had trouble making friends, and I always helped them with their homework. One day when I was in 7th grade, Esmeralda watched how I helped some kids understand a math equation, and she was so impressed. Simona, you would make a really good teacher one day.
Yes, I would love to be a teacher one day, just like you, Esmeralda.
Esmeralda really cared about me, and when I was in 8th grade, Dad told me that he wanted to marry her. I was so happy for them. Dad even invited Mom and her family. This was his way of finally making peace. Just before the event started, I found Louisa standing and glaring at the big wedding cake. What are you doing here, alone?
Whatever I want. This cake looks so delicious.
Yes, it is, but don't stand too close. We don't want any accidents. She smirked at me, and then suddenly, she stuck her finger out and scooped the frosting off the cake. Hey, you can't do that. But she just laughed and reached for the cake again. I ran forward to pull her away. As she tried to push me off, we both started wrestling and crashed straight into the cake. Just then, Mom and Dad appeared, looking speechless. What have you girls done? It wasn't me, Dad, honest. Mom surprised me when she yelled at Louisa. I'm so tired of your behavior, Louisa. Your father has spoiled you so much that everywhere you go, you ruin things. Simona was such a good child compared to you.
Well, maybe I should tell Dad to send you back to your poor family.
Both Dad and I were so shocked at the way Louisa spoke to Mom. And after the wedding, when I visited Mom again, I noticed that Louisa was awful to Mom all the time and bossed her around because her dad gave her the power to do so.
Mom, my Prada jacket still has a stain. Get it cleaned right now. I need it for school.
Okay, dear. Why are you so mean to Mom?
Because she never does anything right. And if she doesn't listen, my dad will kick her out.
She's our mom. Don't you love her?
Well, she loves you more, so I guess I love my dad more.
When I tried to talk to Mom about what was going on in her life, she told me not to worry and said she could handle it. There wasn't much I could do to help her. One day in 10th grade, I was studying in the school library when a boy came out and sat on the table opposite to me. I knew exactly who he was. Jared. He was one of the hot, popular guys at school and was reading one of my all-time favorite books. My eyes kept wandering to him now and then, and I tried not to make it too obvious. But he was just so gorgeous. And while I sat zoned out in my fantasy, he suddenly started waving in my face. Hey, are you okay? Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't staring. I was actually, It's okay. I'm used to it. That's why I sometimes come in here to hide away from the girls coming after me. My parents wanted me to be a model because of all the attention I get. Yes, you're very good looking. Modeling would suit you. I actually like books and reading. I don't like being in the spotlight. I was so surprised because I always saw him surrounded by girls. I was never after him because he was way out of my league. But after meeting him in the library, we actually became good friends because we had so much in common. One day, he asked if I'd like to see the latest Star Wars movie with him, and I was so excited that another kid in school liked that kind of stuff. We even dressed up like the characters and had the time of our lives. I'm so happy to finally have a Star Wars partner. Me too. You're such a cool person to hang out with. He looked deep into my eyes, and then he leaned over and kissed me. I was so shocked because it all felt like a dream. And then I looked down at my leg and started doubting myself and wondering if any of this was real. Hey, what's wrong? Jared, you're like the hottest guy on this planet, and there's so many pretty girls without any issues like mine. So why me? There's nothing wrong with you, Simona. You're perfect. Jared liked me just as I was, and I learned to love myself with my brokenness. Life at school felt great until one day Mom called me with some surprising news. Honey, Louisa will be joining your school. She got expelled from her fancy private school because she was bullying kids. But Mom, she won't fit in at my school. No other school will accept her. Please look out for her and show her around. Maybe she can learn something from you. The next day, Louisa walked into my school wearing a white fluffy coat and black shades. Just as she approached me, a group of girls snuck up behind her and spray painted her coat. What is wrong with you fools? This is Dolce & Gabbana. Oh my gosh, you ruined it. The girls went ballistic and lifted her off her feet. What did you call us? Put me down! When I told the girls that she was my sister, they let her go. What is wrong with the people in your school? This is not one of your fancy schools, and all the newbies get spray painted. It's tradition. That's why I hated the idea of a public school. Poor people have no class. Ugh, she was such a snob. While I was showing Louisa around, we bumped into Jared and he kissed me before running off to class. Louisa looked at me, stunned. Oh my God, how did the hottest guy in school end up with you? Why? What's wrong with me? Everything. You're boring, you dress like a granny, and you have a broken leg. You're just a very ugly person inside and out, Louisa. I'm going to steal him from you. Watch and see. I wasn't threatened by my stupid sister. After school, when Jared walked me out to the gate, Louisa ran after us and slipped her number into his pocket. Before I could say anything, Jared spoke up. Louisa, what's wrong with you? I'm with your sister and I'm crazy about her. Please, just stay away from me. I smiled widely as Louisa turned red. And just then Esmeralda came to pick me up. We had to wait till Mom came for Louisa, and she yelled on the phone at Mom for being late. Hey, you can't speak to your mom that way. Mind your own business, lady. You are not my stepmother. Louisa was just out of control. I decided I was done with her. I completely ignored her for the next day at school. And during recess, she insulted some girls by calling them poor, and they all surrounded her. But I didn't run to her rescue. Hey, aren't those girls hurting your sister? Yes, but she can't control her awful mouth. Whatever happens to her, she deserves it. Yeah, but she's still your sister. Jared always had a way to make me think twice. So I stepped into the circle of girls and found my sister crying. Simona, please tell them to bring back my bag. Not until you promise to change your ways, especially how you speak to Mom. I promise. Please, please save me from these mean girls. It's not so nice when it's done to you, right? I told the girls to leave my sister alone, and then she joined me and Jared for lunch. And to my shock, she actually apologized for being a jerk. I'm really sorry, Simona. I've always been mean to you and Mom because I always felt she loved you more. But today, when those girls were mean to me, I felt what it was like to be the weak one. I've hurt so many people already. Well, it's never too late to change. Later that day, when my stepmom and Mom came to pick us up, Luisa apologized to both of them too. And then, Esmeralda told us some thrilling news. She was pregnant. Oh my God, what? I'm gonna be a big sister again. That baby's lucky to have you, Simona. And you, Luisa, will be the best big sisters ever.